My mom loves to tell this story about when I was 4. I told her that I had some idea in my head about when you become an adult, you move away from home. And I told my mom that I was going to prepare her because when I was a grown-up, I was going to live in Paris and be a writer. So I think that was like my first moment of being like, I want to write stories. I obviously didn't know how to really write or read at that age, but I do remember drawing like comics a lot at that time. And it's just something that I've always loved. And since that time, basically, I've always tried to write stories. It just took me a while to actually finish a book. My name's Dana, and I am a writer and burlesque dancer. So I started doing burlesque about 10, 11 years ago. Karen, who is also known as Stella Gams, taught us a lot about it. And she said you should know everything about your character down to what her favorite drink is. And so thought about that a lot and like who our characters would be, but I just took it a step further. So my book is called Girls with Fake Names. It's based in 1927 in Vancouver and Montreal. And it's about a young woman named Jane Weatherall who's trying to escape her family's identity as notorious Vancouver bootleggers. And so she leaves home. She has these plans to move to Paris and start a publishing company. But along the way, she ends up in Montreal and meets a burlesque dancer named Ruby, who she falls in love with. And through this whole whirlwind adventure, she ends up finding herself caught in the middle of a gang war that's between her own family and this woman she's fallen in love with. So she has to choose between protecting her family or this woman. She is 23, and I started writing this book when I was 25. So I was a very shy, naive young woman, which is very much reflected in my character. I think of Jolie, my stage persona, like she started as this sort of timid, coquette kind of character who was like very sweet about what she did. And that shows through the character in my book. There are a couple of parts because my character gets into burlesque and I describe the acts that she's done, and it's the same acts that I've done. One of the other characters is actually, in the beginning, was very loosely based off a friend of mine who's also in burlesque. So there's a little bit of myself as well as my friends in the story.